3 observations on Sun Pharma's Halol unit are finally out. The observations, which have now been shared by the U.S.FDA, shows that there are no more procedural issues at the plant, just like BloombergQuint had reported yesterday. Darshan is here to decode these observations and what it means for Sun Pharma. Darshan.
Yeah, so basically in terms of, there are 3 observations which we also had pointed out yesterday, and it seems that there are no data integrity issues. Now, the first observation is basically dealing with equipment, with cleanliness, in terms of the airflow supply as well as contact patches. So this is the first observation. We'll try to decode it. First of all, what they're saying is there are cracked or uneven surfaces which makes create a lot of operational barriers, especially for cleaning. Cleaning is difficult due to rough surfaces and difficult to clean equipment. So this is the first observation that they talk about. Secondly, and this could be a little tricky, there is a problem with airflow studies. What it means that, you know, if air flows from a point A to point B, it should not reverse back to point A, and in certain cases it was reversing back to point A, which is a sterile injectable plant. So that is something Sun Pharma will have to rectify this. There may be civil changes that Sun Pharma needs to get this equipment right. So this is something that is important. And contact plate for monitoring of operations, at a particular time there was significant amount of movement that was there, in which FDA said that contact plates should have been used, but they were not used. So this is again something that they can take care of. Now the second observation deals again with cleanliness. What they're saying is there were certain gaskets which were not clean. That Sun Pharma claimed that they were clean, but when they found it out, you know, it was not clean at this point of time. So again leads to a lot of cleanliness issues, but can be resolved. So now if you decode what had happened, he's saying that equipment is not installed, maintained as per the written procedures. What was written, the equipment is not. So again a little bit of civil changes possible, and unclean gaskets which pretty much they will need to clean at this point of time. And the third observation again is something that they talk about in terms of written procedures, training, in terms of, you know, certain issues that are there. So if you decode what the third observation means, a written procedure for vials is not followed, and there was failure to initiate investigation in some of the batches that was there, again can be taken care of. Now what does this mean for Sun Pharma? The most important is that there are no data integrity issues, so that is something that will come out positive for Sun Pharma. The U.S.FDA may not have to re-inspect Halol again, which means that, you know, in the next 15 days from the 23rd where it closed, Sun Pharma has to give a written response in terms of what they're doing it, and if the FDA is you know, satisfied with it, they may not again re-inspect, and there is a high chance of clearance in the next few months. So I spoke to a few GMP experts. Credit Suisse has come out with the note, Equirus has come out with the note, and all of them indicate that in the next 4 to 6 months Halol probably will be cleared. So that is the most important thing. Observations 2 and 3 are procedural, that what we spoke about. The first observation, in which, you know, airflow and media fill validation, there is something where Sun Pharma needs to actually work about a little bit, and there is a high possibility that the FDA may review this smoke test videos, that is this airflow thing I spoke about, after the remediation, post which they may give Sun Pharma the final clearance. But as of now, and what I spoke to a GMP expert, I spoke to analyst, and our own interpretation, it seems Sun Pharma will be lucky for the third time now.
Okay, so just a quick follow-up question, Darshan. Thank you for the detailed explanation of how that plant works. You know, so does this mean that we're looking at Halol getting back online in terms of generic filings, etc., in a few months from now, or is that a little difficult or premature?
See, I'll tell you. See, they have a warning letter on Halol,
right?
Okay, which means that they can manufacture at that plant. Okay, but the new approvals won't come in. So the earlier approvals, whichever they used to make, be it in the oral solid,
those
or
continue.
Yeah, they can continue. They can continue to sell.
No, but the new approvals are critical, right, for their pipeline.
Yeah, so that is critical, and that is why, you know, at one point of time, Halol, which was over 22% of their sales, fell to 11%. One of the reasons was the Ranbaxy integration, but secondly was they were not getting approvals. Now they have 4 or 5 important approvals. So again, in the next 4 or 5 months, as and when the U.S.FDA clears Halol, they will start getting those inspections. And Sun Pharma has been maintaining that we need this approval. I'll also watch out for Spark, because 2 of Spark's important products are to be made at Halol, and they are getting stuck, and Spark is going nowhere. So if Halol gets cleared, those 2 drugs will be made, and Spark will be able to sell out those products.
Okay. That's only 6 months out.
It depends.
For Sun Pharma Advanced Research, at least. Whatever.
I don't know. I think anywhere between 3 to 6 months. It depends on what they, if most of them don't seem serious, except for that airflow stuff. If Sun Pharma is able to convince the FDA, then probably in 2 months they can get the approval. It all depends on the FDA and how they look at it.
But anyways, we're right now closer to this getting resolved than we were in many months.
I think it was very bad from 23 observations to 9 observations to 3, which are not so serious. I think the FDA will be pretty happy with what Sun Pharma has done.